Welcome everybody to the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners meeting. Today is May 27th, 2026, and we're starting at 6:40. Roll call.
President Lestracco.
Here.
Vice President Partha. Commissioner Andrus. Here. Commissioner D'Alessio. Commissioner Zipfel.
Here.
No, he's not there.
He's not on yet?
No.
Okay.
Shahid's not yet there. Okay. I'm going to ask our amazing Township Manager, Aaron Bebro, to
It's a big day.
do the Pledge of Allegiance.
First time I've been called amazing
Six
ever.
people talk amazing.
He heard amazing, he was like, who?
It'd be me. Aye.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation.
You gotta keep it.
We're a little
If you're
off
in charge,
cadence here. I really ruined
I
that.
skipped a
if you're in
phrase.
charge, you gotta keep.
I'm never getting it again. That was it. I'm done.
Yeah, so he never does.
Thank you very much. Okay, do I have a motion for the approval of our agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Andrus, seconded by Commissioner Zipfel. All in favor? Aye. Citizens' comments. We have citizens' comments now for agenda items only. If you have any comments, you can come up to the podium. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to our consent items. We need a motion to enter into the record the Board of Commissioners meeting minutes from April 8th and April 22nd, our treasurer's report from April, and our bills payable. Paid bills for $65,129.36, and unpaid bills for $988,644.77. Do I have a motion to enter these into the record? Motion by Commissioner Andrus. Second by Commissioner Zipfel. All in favor? Aye. Okay. So we're going to have a special presentation tonight, and we are going to I'm going to introduce Pam and Jeremy Roma. I'm going to come down to the podium. And hold on one second. But I also, sorry, want to just say that on our agenda, you will see the proclamation recognizing the Bangladeshi Day. We're going to move that to June because they were not available today to come. So number one under special items, we will move to June. So I'll be right down. Okay, this is working? Yep. Okay, so Jeremy and Pam, they're going to come up and they're going to speak tonight about neurofibromatosis. And you'll see that they'll explain their t-shirts, which I love. And I'm going to introduce you. Come on up. Jeremy and Pam, do you want to stay or do you want to come up too? Okay, that's okay. Thanks so much.
Hello? Okay. Hold on, I'm just going to put my water down real quick. All right. Thank you, first of all, for having us here tonight. I'm a little bit nervous, so I'll do my best here. So my name is Jeremy Roma, and I'm here with my wife, Pamela. We've been Hatfield Township residents for the better part of 16 years. We are the Romas. We've been married for over that 16-year period as well. We have two beautiful children, one of whom has a form of a rare genetic disorder called neurofibromatosis. What my daughter has is called NF1, which is part of that neurofibromatosis family. We are here tonight as volunteers of the Children's Tumor Foundation. The Children's Tumor Foundation is the drug discovery engine for neurofibromatosis, driving research, expanding knowledge, and advancing care for NF patients abroad. As defined by the Children's Tumor Foundation, NF1 is the most common form of neurofibromatosis, occurring in about 1 in 2,500 births. It is present at birth, but may not be diagnosed until later in childhood, as some symptoms appear over time. NF1 is caused by a mutation in the NF1 gene, which affects how cells grow and divide, leading to benign, non-cancerous tumors on nerves. NF1 can vary widely in severity. Common signs include cafe au lait spots or light brown skin spots that form on the skin, usually 6 or more, neurofibromas, which are benign bumps or tumors on or underneath the skin, freckling in the armpits or groin area, bone abnormalities, scoliosis and thinning of bones, learning or attention challenges in about half of the cases, and rarely tumors in the brain, spinal cord, and cranial nerves. NF affects more people than muscular dystrophy, cystic fibrosis, Tay-Sachs, and Huntington's disease combined. But we are here tonight not solely to educate about neurofibromatosis, but rather to talk about our work within our community. Our mission is to find a cure, but that can only happen when the word neurofibromatosis is known by everyone and no longer has to be explained at every turn. Up until 2019, we personally had never heard of this genetic disorder. In 2019, during a visit to Children's Hospital of Philadelphia for a completely unrelated checkup, our daughter was diagnosed with neurofibromatosis. After some genetic testing, it was confirmed that my wife Pam has NF1 as well. The diagnosis was surprising, and it was the beginning of us learning about the genetic disorder. Shortly following the diagnosis, the COVID pandemic had arrived. The pandemic served as somewhat of a distraction for our family and delayed us from fully processing the diagnosis. Pardon me. In 2024, we started advocating, fundraising, and volunteering for multiple NF organizations. To date, I have run 150 miles for charity, and together we've raised over $15,000. We fundraise year-round and meet with our local state representatives and senators to spread awareness about NF, especially during the month of May. The month of May is NF Awareness Month. In 2024, working with local representatives, we helped pass House Resolution 433, which recognized May 17th as World Neurofibromatosis Awareness Day in the state of PA. And in May 2025, we got our second House Resolution 137 passed to recognize the same. And on May 12th, 2025, we were invited to the PA State Capitol to be recognized on the Senate chamber and watch our House Resolution 137 go up for a vote on the House floor. On May 12th and 13th of that year, Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis lit up his balcony for all families living with NF in the state of PA and abroad. This recognition resulted from a coordinated effort with our local and state congressmen and women. In addition to our congressional advocacy work, we have spoken about our journey with NF at multiple public forums and did our first podcast to raise even more awareness in October. In 2026, we joined the Rotary Club of North Penn to expand our community service, a partnership that led to the Rotary Club purchasing 26 books for the 13 elementary schools in the North Penn district. This initiative wouldn't have been possible without us working with the local principal, Mr. Minna, the Rotary Club of North Penn, a local author and NF survivor from Philadelphia, and the Children's Tumor Foundation. We as a family and a team have attacked this complex disorder head on. Behind the scenes, Pam, my wife, handles our public relations through email, Instagram, and multiple other social media platforms. And currently this year, we serve on multiple planning committees for NF charities and are in motion this May raising donations once again through our team page with Children's Tumor Foundation. These donations help to drive research, get treatments to the finish line for FDA approval, and improve the quality of life for the 4 million people globally that are currently living with neurofibromatosis. While donations matter, what's even more meaningful is the chance to connect with our community in moments like these. In addition to speaking here this evening, we spoke at an HSA meeting at Walton Farm on May 14th and held 2 Dine for a Cure events over this past month. The first event was held at the Main Freeze in Lansdale on May 7th, and we had our second annual Dine for a Cure at Vinny's Pizzarama on May 19th. Over the course of this month, I also ran 60 miles for 25 different families that are living with or have lost loved ones to neurofibromatosis, and we successfully raised $2,600 this month for the Children's Tumor Foundation. Our goal was $2,500 for the month, and we couldn't have hit that goal without the support of our local community, legislators, and state reps. We're honored to be here tonight to see the first proclamation by Hatfield Township in recognition of neurofibromatosis. This proclamation comes in addition to our 3rd annual House resolution that will be passed on a state level this year. And Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis once again lit up his balcony per our request. This happened on May 5th through May 8th. And when it comes to raising awareness and advocating for my wife, daughter, and local residents, all of these pieces matter. They always have. As a team, partnered with our most valuable resource, our community, we have faith that the work we're doing today will positively change lives for our local NF community tomorrow. Our vision is a world where the burden of neurofibromatosis does not exist. Our mission is to bring hope to those affected by neurofibromatosis and allied disorders. Patients and families are at the heart of our work. We advocate, support, raise awareness while navigating with and engaging our community while promoting research until we have enhanced clinical care and hopefully one day a cure. I hope this is the beginning of our relationship with Hatfield Township, its local businesses and residences. Nothing is impossible. Ending NF is possible. Thank you for your time. And I'll take any questions if you guys have any.
Anybody have any questions?
What's your next event?
This. It's been a long month because we
Got
had. We
May
had
was a
full-
big month.
The next event is Lansdale Day.
Yep.
You guys are probably familiar with Lansdale Day. So because we're on, the Rotary Club,
Yep.
that's a all hands on deck kind of event. So it's unrelated to this work. Pam and I, we generally do this year round as we're part of several planning committees. But May is the awareness month, and that's generally when we really kick it up a notch. And so that involves me running for families, and I kind of use that as a launching pad to post mileage updates. And as I post those mileage updates, the community becomes aware that things are happening and that this thing actually exists. It has a terrible name, I admit it. It's very hard to remember. It's much easier to say NF1.
NF1.
Yeah, but if I'm not a doctor, so usually when I speak, I try to talk about our advocacy work, so it's not like, I hope it doesn't come across like we're bragging about our work that we've done. I just like to leave the experts talk about that end of it. What I do know about it is we all have a chromosome 17, so if you've seen that on a DNA chart, and if you were to slip that out, there's an NF1 gene, there's also an NF2 gene on there. So you can also have a form of this called NF2, which is a little bit more severe than what our daughter and my wife has. None of it's good, and it's why we're trying to find a cure for it. Yeah, I mean, that's the gist of it.
Please let us know about upcoming events. We'll spread the word.
Yeah, I would love to coordinate with you guys, especially in May. I mean, like we do this year round, but yeah, I'll start an open dialogue with you guys and keep you in the loop. And anything you're interested in doing, we would love to have your help and have you be part of our team.
Do you have a donation website?
We do, yeah. We have so we have a team name. We're called the Jades Way Warriors, and it's linked directly to the Children's Tumor Foundation. So, do you have any of that on you, Pam? Yeah, I can give you my business. Oh yeah, my wife can give you her business card, and if you want to reach out to us, we can give you that at a later date. I didn't come here to actually try to raise donations. If I'm being honest, the most important part of finding a cure and actually raising donations is doing community service and connecting with the community. If people don't know what this is, and you don't come out and you don't try to help other people, they're not gonna really care about what's going on with you personally. That's my experience. So we found it beneficial to come out and speak to the community, and it starts there. And then the second step would be giving you our card and we can start communicating.
Do you have a social media?
Yes.
That's for
You're all right if we touch base after, and then we can give you all that. Like we'll give you the business card and write it all on there, and then yeah, you can read it. You can sure.
All right. It's okay.
Yeah.
All right, because, yeah, we like to share information. So for the Children's Tumor Foundation, I'll just share that.
Yeah, is that my wife's? Oh, I can read it,
Okay.
and then I'll let you do the process.
Yeah, perfect. All
All
right.
right, so this is my wife's contact information. So you can contact us. I'll give you the email, roma.pamela, is it 517? Is that supposed to be in there? Okay, I'm sorry. Roma.Pamela, so it's Roma, R-O-M-A, dot Pamela, P-A-M-E-L-A, 517 at gmail.com. And then probably we'll have you contact us by email. We don't usually hand our phone numbers unless it's to like, yeah.
Yeah, thanks. It's good to have that, that we put out your email address. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I want to thank you for coming and bringing this information to us. It's really important. I've had some students and some friends who have children who have neurofibromatosis, and I had a student also who has it. So it's, for me, it rolls off the tongue, but like you said, it will, because once you meet somebody, it will be, you'll always remember, you'll always know what it is and how it is very, very difficult. So I'm going to read this proclamation, and I'm going to a little bit closer to me. Okay. Recognizing May as Neurofibromatosis Awareness Month, or NF Awareness Month, that will be in May. Whereas neurofibromatosis, or NF, is a group of genetic disorders that causes tumors to grow on nerves throughout the body, impacting individuals of all ages, races, and backgrounds. And whereas NF affects more than 150,000 people in the United States and over 4 million people worldwide, yet remains widely under-recognized and often misunderstood. And whereas the Children's Tumor Foundation is the leading nonprofit organization dedicated to driving research, expanding knowledge, and advancing treatments for neurofibromatosis, and whereas families within our community, including the Roma family, are personally affected by NF, underscoring the importance of awareness, compassion, support, and continued research efforts. And whereas increasing awareness of the local level, at the local level, plays a critical role in supporting individuals and families affected by NF, while contributing to broader national and global efforts to improve diagnosis, expand treatment options, and ultimately find a cure. And whereas nationwide initiatives such as Shine a Light on NF unite communities by illuminating landmarks in blue and green to honor those impacted by NF and raise public awareness, and whereas state and local governments throughout the nation have recognized NF Awareness Month, demonstrating a shared commitment to support individuals and families living with this condition. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners hereby proclaims the month of May as Neurofibromatosis Awareness Month in Hatfield Township, and encourages all residents to increase their understanding of neurofibromatosis, support affected individuals and families, and promote ongoing efforts toward research, improved treatment, and a cure. And this is for you. Wait, let me fix it. Yeah. I'm gonna just fix this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Still muted.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Before we go to action items, I just want to do a quick update. I'm sorry I didn't tell you this, Tom Zipfel. Commissioner Zipfel, can you just do an update on the Hatfield 250?
Oh, you know what? I will.
Okay.
We can go through the other.
Sure, we can do it. Why don't we do it at the end?
Yeah, I've
Okay,
got to
perfect.
pull it up on my
Okay.
phone.
Is it okay? Do you want to do it?
Yeah, let's
here?
do it after that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then I'll do an update as well. Okay, so we're going to move into action items. We're going to send this over to Scott, and this is for 1510 Cowpath Road Land Development and the Bethlehem Pike Minor Subdivision, and we'll start with the first one, and then we'll go to the next one.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, 1510 Cowpath Road. This is the Snyder Square Car Wash. It's a 5,561 square foot car wash in the shopping center zoning district next to the existing giant fueling station. Access is via internal driveways. Stormwater management on site will remain. Slight modifications made to deal with the new parking lot, curbing, and driveway. The applicant previously presented this at the May workshop meeting, 9 waivers being requested, and their signed resolution is in front of you right now for approval.
Okay. Any questions? Comments? Okay. All right. Hearing none, we will call it a question. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Zipfel, seconded by Commissioner Andrus. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it has. And we'll go to number 2. That has passed.
This is 182 Bethlehem Pike. This is Lotus Real Estate Properties. The parcel is currently split in 2 zoning districts, which this approval would divide them along the existing zoning boundary lines. Lot 1 in the RA1 is 0.73 acres. Lot 2 is in the commercial district, which contains the existing medical office building. All stormwater management on the residential parcel would be required at the time of the development. 6 waivers being requested, and their signed resolution is in front of the board for approval.
Thank you. Do I have any questions or comments for 182 Bethlehem Pike minor subdivision?
Nope.
No? Okay. I just wanted to announce that Vice President Partha did join the meeting a little bit late, and that's why we heard him a little bit on this Zoom. So he is participating now, so he obviously can then vote. So I will take a motion to approve the resolution 2611.
So
Do I have a
moved.
motion?
Oops,
Motion
so-
by Commissioner Zipfel.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Andrus. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No, that's okay. So we have 3. Okay, we have 4. That has passed. Okay, we're going to move on to 2058 Maple Avenue Land Development, Resolution 2612.
Thank you. 2058 Maple Ave, this is Hatfield Village Amenities Project. It's Zone GA Garden Apartments, demolition of the existing 1-story building. Improvements include in-ground swimming pool, concrete walkways, pavilion areas, and the basketball court on the property. Construction of a 7,640 square foot community building, as well as a 3,042 square feet shop building. 2 above-ground stormwater management facilities on site, 5 waivers being requested, and the signed resolution is in front of the board for approval.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2612?
So, second.
Motion by Commissioner Andrus, second by Commissioner Zipfel. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, it has passed. We're going to take this number 4, liquor license transfer, Resolution 2613. I'm going to send that over to Mrs. Pianzio.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On May 13th, we had a hearing for the transfer of a liquor license to 2278 North Penn Road. You have in front of you a resolution approving that transfer. I added the condition that was requested by the commissioners and agreed to by the applicant that they only sell beer and wine. So that condition is part of the resolution, and it's ready for your approval.
Okay. Do I have any questions or comments?
None.
Okay. So I'm going to take a motion to approve the resolution 2613.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Zipfel,
Second.
second by Commissioner Andrus. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, it has passed. For this next one, the grant agreement, Colmar Fire, I'm going to send that over to Mr. Bebro.
Thank you, President Lestracco. Quickly, since we do have a public hearing that is set to begin, this is simply transferring the responsibilities of the grant administration from Hatfield Township to Colmar Fire to make some improvements on their site that we went over 2 weeks ago at the workshop meeting. It's good news, funding coming from the state to help one of our volunteer fire companies improve their site. So,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. We just need a motion for approval for
Oh,
that.
we need a
That's okay.
motion for approval, sorry, for the grant agreement, Colmar Fire. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Zipfel.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Andrus. All in favor of the grant agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any opposed? Nope. It has passed.
Very good.
Okay.
Do you want me to just keep rolling
Yeah,
along,
sure. Thank
President?
you.
All right,
That'd be
I'd be
great.
happy to. So the next
Okay.
item number 6 that we discussed a few weeks ago, this is for the Phase 3 of the PA Sumneytown 309 Connector Road that PennDOT is working on. This is right-of-way that the township currently owns along 309 near the Unionville intersection that PennDOT will be acquiring. PennDOT is compensating the township roughly $50,000 for this right-of-way. We would just need a motion to approve this transaction, and the PennDOT can continue along with acquiring other right-of-way throughout that corridor.
Okay. Do I have any questions, comments? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve PennDOT right-of-way acquisition?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Zipfel, seconded by Commissioner Andrus. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, okay. That was 4-4. It has passed.
Very good, thank you. Number 7, item 7 is going to be tabled until next month. We did discuss this 2 weeks ago. We just need a little more time for the advertisement in the paper before the board can consider that. So it's just a timing issue. We'll have that on the agenda in June. Lastly, number 8, we discussed a few weeks ago as well. This was just the addition of a federal holiday, Juneteenth, into the personnel manual for township employees. So a motion would formalize that arrangement.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Zipfel, second by Commissioner Andrus. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, it has passed.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to just go to updates before citizens' comments. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to call on Commissioner Zipfel for an update on the Hatfield 250.
Okay, so pretty good crowd for this evening. I know that everyone's here for Pulte, but I'm going to steal your attention just for a quick moment or two. So if you don't know, we have had what's called a Hatfield 250 committee, which has been preparing for the semi-quincentennial event that is now, by my estimate, only about 38 days away. So it's rapidly approaching. And we have some great opportunities to get together and some things we've been working on for some time. So these are the events, just the highlights. This Saturday, May 30th, in School Road Park from 10 to 3 is our Living History Day. So last year we wanted to have this and Mother Nature was mean to us, and this year she is going to be very kind to us, and I'm promising that. So again, May 30th, 10 to 3. It is colonial craft demonstrations, American and British reenactors, songs and stories, and colonial games for the kids, and the food is going to be done by the Scouts. We really would love a great crowd. Please, if you can make it, fantastic. If you can't, spread the word, because this is one of our big events. This is one of our 3 big events, again, this Saturday. Next is, this one's kind of something you can come throughout the time that it's here. We're going to have an American Revolution Experience traveling exhibit by the American Battlefield Trust right here in the Township Building, starting June 22nd, Monday, June 22nd, through Saturday, July 4th. It is going to be a remarkably interesting presentation by Talmenson DAR, Daughters of American Revolution. It involves interactive kiosks for the kids, 12 thematic display panels, unique artifacts from the time that shaped our nation. And again, it's going to be mostly in the evenings. It'll be on our site, June 22nd through July 4th. And then, of course, the big celebration, the grand celebration, is at the Hatfield Aquatic Center on Saturday, July 4th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. If you want to come to the pool, you need a pool membership. There's going to be games, gift bags, foam party, surprises. And then there's going to be, and I saw the post on this, Aaron, the kind of the teaser. There's going to be a Declaration of Independence signing and video reading. The video reading is going to come out in June, I think, right? For those of us who kind of know what it is, it's very exciting. People throughout the town have been asked to read portions of the Declaration of Independence. So we're blending it together, literally from the first word to the end. And it's our Hatfield residents and businesses reading the Declaration of Independence. I've seen some snippets of it, and it is wonderful. And that's coming out soon. And then I'll leave it at that. Those are our three big ones. But again, July 4th, Saturday, July 4th, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. is when we're having the reading of the Declaration. It's right after the Aquatic Center event, and it's going to be all kinds of family-friendly things happening during that time right here, right down by the pool. All right, so please, if you can make it, great. If you can't, spread the word. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for that report. Just one other update on June 9th, which is two Tuesdays. Tuesday, June 9th, we will be having a Pride flag-raising celebration. And so I'll now move to citizens' comments. If you'd like to make a citizen's comment, you may come up to the podium. Please state your name and your address. We're going to have citizens' comments, and then we're going to adjourn, and then we're going to go into the public hearing.
Patricia, when we get into the hearing, I'll make sure to read your statement.
Right.
We got you.
Thank you, Patricia.
Thanks.
My name is Sandy Mussolino, and I reside at 1664 Forest Hills Drive. We all know the Pool Advisory Board, comprised of both township and borough members, was put on pause for the 2026 summer season. But I think the commissioners and community need to know how the pause came about. On December 29th, I received an email from Commissioner-elect D'Alessio asking me to meet with her and our future president, Jen Lestraco. In the email, she also stated she would be lead commissioner on the Pool Advisory Board. Not sure what that meant, I contacted Commissioner Andrus for clarification. My reason for contacting Commissioner Andrus was that he had been attending our meetings for several years. It seemed to be news to him as well. Unable to make the meeting dates given, I suggested we meet before or after our next meeting in February. I never received a reply. Commissioner D'Alessio arrived at the February meeting after the meeting had started. We paused the meeting so each member could introduce themselves. We were discussing the fee schedule for the 2026 season. Commissioner D'Alessio questioned the fee for morning lazy river walkers, and I explained the rationale for the fee based on a review of last year's financials and comments and recommendations from the township. A few days passed after the meeting, and I informally received word that my term on the board would not be renewed because I was disrespectful to Commissioner D'Alessio. Disrespect in this case was interpreted by Commissioner D'Alessio as my not changing my schedule to accommodate her request to meet, and me not suggesting the board change their mind on the fee schedule for 2026. Not having received any formal notification from the township, I attended the March meeting. After the March meeting, I sent an email to Commissioner D'Alessio requesting a meeting. Commissioner D'Alessio returned the email saying she was, quote, up to speed on matters related to the pool, end quote. I returned with an offer to meet just to get to better know each other. The reply I received, and I quote, there has been opportunity at our past few meetings for you and other routine members to get to know me. None have, end quote. At the end of our regular April meeting, Commissioner D'Alessio informed the board that the Pool Advisory Board would be on pause due to the end of the contract between the borough and the township. After a discussion, many of the members left the meeting confused and frustrated. I stayed to talk. I was told that I could continue to meet with, quote, my friend group, end quote. I was also told that the board doesn't do anything. This was after the commissioner had only attended maybe 2.5 meetings. And it was too expensive to have the pool manager attend meetings. After notifying the absent borough members of the pause, I learned that the borough did not know about the pause. The borough's understanding was that the board would continue to meet until a new contract between the borough and township was in place. Any changes to the board would be made after agreement of a new contract. There seems to be confusion over the pause. I am confused as to why my term was not renewed. Was it because of perceived disrespect? The Pool Advisory Board is confused because actions and words of one commissioner seem conflicting. The Advisory Board doesn't really do anything. While in the Hatfield Connections newsletter, she stated she was looking forward to working with the board. The borough manager and council seemed confused about this action as they thought there was an agreement with the township. At the May 13th commissioners meeting, some of the commissioners seemed confused about how the pause came about. Why would you pause the Pool Advisory Board when the pool is just about to open for its new season? Why would the lead commissioner choose to pause the Pool Advisory Board after speaking positively about the board in both the newsletter and her campaign materials? My answers to these questions: the newest lead commissioner wanted more direct control without the burden of some township and borough residents getting in the way of decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Any other citizens' comments? Oh, good, okay.
Hi, Becky McHenry, 442 Knightsbridge Lane, Hatfield. Sandy, thank you for giving that long, detailed timeline of how that all came about. So thank you for listening to that great timeline. I am here as well with to help understand how the agreement, I was hoping that the commissioner was going to be here so she'd give us an update on how the agreement is working out between the borough and the township. She's not here, so I'm not quite sure we'll have an answer. I'm also wondering if there's other committees that the commissioners have to discuss doing away with outside the public channels of discussion. Any other volunteer committees that they are pausing? Question I would love to know. As I've mentioned previously, these committees are run by volunteers who have vested interest in seeing Hatfield put their best foot forward for all residents and not get bogged down in the minute-to-minute of personal politics or settling scores. Last week, I was asked last minute to assist again at the Iron Knights Triathlon with the parking, and pulled in to working a parking shift for an event for over 2,000 students that translates to approximately 3,000 parents. We struggled yet to get 300 volunteers that day. My point is, residents who are willingly volunteer are very hard to come by these days, and the township should do everything in their power to hold on to and encourage the ones that have invested years in making sure the Hatfield Aquatic Club remains one of the jewels of the Hatfield Township's crown, and not dismiss us. Commissioner Partha, you voted to disband this pool advisory committee. I am curious on how you arrived at that decision without by your own admission or having any information on who the advisory members were or the scope of our work. You voted to dismiss this committee without even attending a meeting or asking any or probing questions. I find myself unable to vote for or against something if I'm truly not informed of what I'm actually voting for. To me, it seems that you were persuaded by others to vote against this committee. Commissioner Lestracco did attend one meeting when the lead commissioner couldn't make it a half an hour before our start time. And she got a little taste of what we do. I do hope a resolution between the borough and the township come to an end soon and you can continue to keep the volunteers you currently have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Becky.
Just a comment. So thank you very much for your comments. So as I stated 2 weeks ago, I expect to be invited to any meeting that would have to deal with the pool on non-working hours, because I have a day job that pays the bills at home.
Yes, same.
So I expect to be invited to those. And just for the record, whether there's a contract or something between the borough and the township, it doesn't matter. the Pool Advisory Board can act as it did previously without that contract in place. And so we'll continue on.
Thank you, Commissioner Andrus. Any other citizens' comments? Okay. Seeing none, I will ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Zipfel.
So moved.
Motion by, and second by Commissioner Andrus. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Today is May 27, 2026. This is the third hearing on the Pulte application, continued from April 22, 2026. We are operating with 3 commissioners present. I have Andrus, Zipfel, and Lestraka in the room. Commissioner Partha is on Zoom, and he's also able to read the transcript, but he's here, he can hear, and he can see the exhibits on the screen. And as I communicated with you before, Julie Carla is on vacation, but she will read the transcripts, and she can watch the video, and she can review the exhibits, and that was agreeable to you, right?
That's correct.
Okay, great. I do have a request from Patricia Houston Martinez. I went over this with you as well. She is present in the room. She's requesting party status. She has written a letter describing her reasons for party status. I have sent that to you and to Mr. Panzer, and Aaron is going to read it on the record. If you have questions for her, Aaron is going to walk down with a microphone so that he can bring that to her, okay?
Okay.
All right. Aaron, why don't you read that request?
Sure. Letter from Patricia Houston Martinez. Request for party status. My name is Patricia Houston Martinez. I reside at 1803 Harding Street and 1807 Welsh Road in Lansdale, and I am a homeowner, a butter, and named defendant in the related quiet title litigation concerning 4th Street, Harding Street, Welsh Road, and the surrounding access areas. My home was purchased and constructed in 1993 facing 4th Street, consistent with the 1922 recorded plan and residential street layout. The proposed development would significantly change that arrangement by placing a main entrance directly outside my bedroom window before the court has resolved the disputed ownership and access issues. Because the proposal directly affects my property, access, quality of life, lighting, flooding concerns, and potential sewer impact, I respectfully request party status so my concerns may be formally heard during this process. Sincerely, Patricia Houston Martinez.
Ms. Houston Martinez is being accommodated because she has needs relative to speech, so we are going to extend her that courtesy and accommodation. Do you have questions for her relative to her party status request?
I do have a couple.
Okay, just give us 1 second. You're entitled to those, so 1 minute. She can relay her answers to Aaron softly, and then Aaron can speak in the microphone for you.
And that's fine. And that's fine. I don't want to have my back to you, so let me just take this over here. Good evening. I just am a little bit confused about your letter. You say you reside at 1803 Harding Street and 1807 Welsh. Is that one property with 2 addresses?
It's 2 parcels,
2 separate parcels.
one house.
Does the house straddle both parcels, or is the house on one parcel and the other parcel's vacant?
The one parcel is on at the road, and the house is on the other one on the.
So it sounds like the parcel is adjacent to one paper street, whereas the empty parcel, whereas the other parcel with the home is fronting 4th Street. Is that right, Patricia?
So the parcel with the home
Would you like us to?
fronts on 4th Street? Is that the answer? The parcel with the home on it, does that front on 4th Street? Is that what you're saying? Okay. And,
Aaron, say yes if that was her answer.
Yes.
Thank you.
but the address for your parcels are Harding Street and Welsh Road, but your house faces on 4th? Okay. And,
Yes.
And are there other parcels adjacent and behind your parcels that use your access to Welsh Road? So there's other parcels that have cars that
Yes.
drive in front of your house? Okay. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, so I would object to party status on a number of bases. The first is that her appearance tonight is untimely, and it's violative of procedural due process. As you know, a potential objector must make a timely appearance before the board per the MPC, and she's now just requesting party status and coming to these hearings when these hearings started, a couple months ago, and we've already had 2 hearings. So it's not a timely appearance, and I would object on that basis, number 1. 2, she's raising issues of paper streets, which, again, I have taken the position that paper streets are not relevant to this conditional use hearing. So those are my objections, in addition to her concerns are concerns of any other township resident. They're not unique.
Okay. Tom, do you have anything?
We have no objection to the request for party status.
Okay. The township's going to grant her party status over your objection. It's noted on the record. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. You can get started then with your next witness.
We'll swear Matt in.
Okay.
State spell your full name, please. Sure. Matthew, M-A-T-T-H-E-W, Hammond, H-A-M-M-O-N-D. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
I think we're going to have to share this mic. Okay. Matt, what's your profession?
I am a licensed professional engineer specializing in traffic and transportation.
And how long have you been licensed in PA?
Approximately 24 years.
And by whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I am the Executive Vice President of Traffic Planning and Design.
And how long have you been employed in that capacity?
I've been employed by Traffic Planning and Design for over 31 years.
And what are your professional duties with traffic planning and design?
I oversee the private side of the company, which deals with all of the private development. So anything from residential development to retail development to office commercial development. I not only oversee those projects, but I also participate in complete projects as well.
Can I interrupt for 1 second? So although we can hear you fine, the microphone is needed for the recording, and it's not picking you up. So you guys got to get nice and snuggly. Sorry.
We'll use this and then I'll take
All right, that's great. All right, not as snuggly. Aaron's got another microphone. Darn, I was enjoying that.
Did you finish that last response? I'm sorry.
I did.
Okay.
Perfect.
And
That's better.
have you prepared transportation impact assessments and studies for residential developments over the last 31 years?
Yes, I have.
How many approximately?
I would say a conservative estimate would be over 100.
And what's your educational background?
I received my Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from Drexel University.
And have you appeared and provided testimony before municipal boards for zoning, conditional use, land development matters?
I have, including Hatfield Township.
And you're accepted as an expert witness
I was, yes.
in the capacity of traffic engineering, planning, and design?
Yes.
Just show you what we have included in Exhibit Booklet Part 2 as tab 12. Ask you to identify that, please.
That is a copy of my current curriculum vitae.
I would offer Matt as an expert in traffic engineering, planning, and design.
Any objection?
I have no objection to the offer, and will defer any questions on qualifications to cross-examination.
Okay, fine. We'll accept him as an expert in the field of traffic. You want him as what? Traffic planning and design?
Yes.
Just like the name. Okay,
Correct.
no objection from the commissioners, right? Okay.
Thank you.
Was traffic planning and design engaged by the applicant with regard to this project?
Yes.
And what was the scope of that engagement?
The scope of the engagement was to, at first, to coordinate with the development team in coming up with a layout that would meet various different criteria, as well as initially look at the development from a traffic perspective.
And you were involved with the project when it was just the beach palo portion of the project?
Correct, when it included, I believe it was approximately 78 single-family homes on the northern portion of the property.
Okay, and you appeared and provided testimony with regard to that conditional use application previously, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and just generally, can you describe what transportation impact assessments and studies are and how they're conducted?
Sure. So a traffic impact study or assessment is basically a document that looks at the potential impact from a traffic perspective that a development can have on a defined area, based on not only township standards but also PennDOT standards, and then determines if certain mitigation is necessary in order to accommodate the additional traffic associated with that development.
Okay. And have you visited the property subject of this application and the surrounding roadways?
I have.
And did you evaluate existing traffic conditions at and near the site?
Yes.
And can you describe the existing roadway network and the conditions?
Sure.
Oh, this one? This is A2A, I believe it is. Let's double check. Yes, so it's exhibit part 1A of the exhibit booklet, and it was labeled A2A.
If you can
You're referring to what's on the screen, right?
I was referring to what was on the screen, yeah.
Okay.
So referring to what's on the screen now, Exhibit A2A, in red, as I'm pointing with my pointer in red, outlined is the boundary of the property that's subject of tonight's hearing. To the north, the property is bound by Leon Drive, and to the south, the property is bound by Welsh Road. You'll notice that on the northern side, there is a significant amount of what I'll call frontage directly parallel to Leon Drive. On Welsh Road, there's a very minimal amount of frontage that exists through this area. There's also an easement that exists. I believe it's a 20-foot wide easement. And somewhat in this proximity, it's hard to see from the plan, but traverses from the property out to our Villa Road. And then there's also, actually there's just that easement. So essentially, it's just the limited frontage along Welsh Road, as well as the larger portion of frontage near and at Leon Drive.
And Leon Drive, this property would take access to Leon Drive via what roadways?
So this property,
The stubs, this roadways, Grapevine and...
sure. So we're not proposing for any direct vehicular access to be taken from this development to Leon Drive, but we have proposed a emergency access, is where I'm pointing to here on Exhibit A2A, that would line up with Grapevine Drive, which would lead to obviously Leon Drive, which runs east-west, as I'm pointing to on the exhibit. But that again, the previous plan, if you all recall, had the vehicular access in that location that would come out and access directly Leon Drive. But now that the plan has been revised and now has frontage on Welsh Road, we've eliminated any vehicular access to Leon Drive via Grapevine, and now only propose that to be an emergency access only.
Okay, and did you prepare a transportation impact study for the proposed single-family detached dwelling cluster development?
Yes.
And, I'm sorry, is that Exhibit A13 in the exhibit booklet?
It is. It's dated December 1st, 2025, and it is entitled North Penn School District and Beach Palo Residential Development Transportation Impact Study, Hatfield Township, Montgomery County, PA.
And that traffic impact study was provided with the conditional use application submission, correct?
That is my understanding, yes.
And it hasn't changed since that time?
Correct.
Okay. So what information and documentation did you review in drafting the transportation impact study?
So with any study, there's a significant amount of information that we collect prior to actually conducting the analysis contained within the study. That information includes any other background or any other developments in the area which may have an impact on the study intersections within a defined time frame. We look at any other township projects in the area which may affect the roadway network, any PennDOT projects, whether there's the availability of mass transit. We look at the existing roadways. If the intersections within those roadways are signalized, we'll look at the existing signal plans to determine how those intersections are operating. In this instance, Welsh Road is part of a corridor, traffic signal corridor. So we look at the interconnection plan as well to determine how the intersections are operating that are all interconnected. We also look at crash data, data that has includes crashes that would be that would have occurred within the study area within the past 5 years. And we look at any other projects that are looking to do, private projects that is, that are looking to do roadway improvements in the area.
And did you also review the conditional use exhibits, the plans in particular, including the revised plan?
Yes.
And by the revised conditional use plan, I mean the one dated March 30th, 2026 that included the 3 additional bond parcels.
That is correct. So to be clear, the most recent conditional use plan includes 162 residential units on the property. The traffic study that was conducted or dated December 1st, 2025 includes 161 residential units, so one less than what's shown on the conditional use plan.
Okay. Please discuss in detail the transportation impact study that you did conduct.
Sure. So again, referring to Exhibit 813, the traffic impact study contains a good bit of information. One of the first things that we do when preparing a traffic study is we submit what's called a scoping application. And that scoping application is submitted to both the township and PennDOT for review. And the purpose of that scoping application is to kind of define the study area, what intersections are going to be included within the traffic analysis and how those analyses are going to be conducted. We submitted that scoping application to the township and PennDOT in September of 2025 and received reviews back from both the township traffic engineer and PennDOT in October of 2025. So once the scoping application occurs and once the review is received, then we go into the actual analysis. First and foremost, what we do is we go out and count traffic volumes, existing volumes at the defined intersections. And the intersections that were defined within this study area include the intersection of, it's just off of this exhibit, A2A, the intersection of Welsh Road and 40-foot Road, the intersection of Welsh Road and Orvilla Road, the intersection of Welsh Road and Oak, I believe it's referred to. Orvilla Road and Leon Drive, which was part of the previous traffic study. We also looked at Allentown Road and Orvilla Road, as well as Welsh Road and obviously the proposed access point. And finally, I'm sorry, I left out the intersection of Orvilla Road and Coffle Road, which is right here off of the page. So we conducted traffic counts during the AM and PM peak hours on a typical weekday. And AM peak hours defined as the one highest hour of traffic, typically between 6:30 and 9:30 in the morning. And the PM peak hour is defined as the one highest hour of traffic between 3:30 and 6:30 on a typical weekday. Typical weekdays for residential developments are Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or Thursdays. Those traffic counts were conducted in March of 2024 as well as September of 2025. So once we collect that data, we determine what the peak hour of traffic is. We also look at where the proposed driveway will be located, conduct analysis with respect to the visibility of that driveway, the visibility for motorists exiting that future driveway, the visibility of motorists entering that future driveway. We also, as I mentioned, collect crash data and look at whether or not there are a history or a pattern of crashes at certain intersections which could be corrected in the future. We then look at a future year. We have to determine what year we think the development will be open and operating. For purposes of this traffic study, we assume that to be the year 2030. So as part of forecasting in the future, we need to look at, as I mentioned before, what other developments in the area could be built by the year 2030 that could have an impact on those intersections that I mentioned earlier. We also look at just general growth in traffic in the area due to developments that may be outside the township boundaries or outside of that study area, which may contribute to additional traffic volumes at those study area intersections. We also look at, again, if PennDOT has any proposed improvement projects in the area, as well as the township. We then, once we determine what the base conditions are, the 2030 conditions without development, we then look at the amount of traffic that development would generate itself. And there is generally accepted methodology within the transportation engineering industry, whereas we utilize what's called the Institute of Transportation Engineers Trip Generation Manual to determine the amount of traffic 161 at the time single-family homes would generate. We then take that traffic and determine where we think that traffic's coming from and going to, and then we superimpose that on top of the base conditions within the study area, and then run analysis to see the impact that the development has from a traffic perspective. There are certain guidelines that are provided with respect to how those analyses are conducted. In this case, the township has requirements in terms of how the traffic study should be completed. And that is, I believe, found in Section 250 of the Saldo, Article 10. And then also, because we are on a PennDOT road, which is Welsh Road, we also need to comply with PennDOT standards. So they give us the guidelines and how the analysis is done. Once we complete the analysis, we look at the impact that the development has, and then again, per the requirements, determine if there are certain roadway improvements that would be necessary in order to mitigate the impact of the development, which is really, at the end of the day, what we're charged with doing is mitigating the impact. In other words, making sure that the intersections operate no worse or the same as they do in future conditions without the development. And typically that requires certain roadway improvements to be conducted. And then the hope is that those roadway improvements not only mitigate the impact of the development, but help solve some of the issues that may exist currently within that study area.
So after performing this analysis, what conclusions and recommendations did you reach?
So again, as I mentioned, we have very limited frontage on Welsh Road, and we're only proposing one main access in and out of the development. So a lot of those improvements and recommendations are concentrated at the location of the proposed access point on Welsh Road, which, again, pointing to Exhibit A2A, is in this area here, this small parcel. And I don't know, Jason, if you could go to the next.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's a, which one would you? No, it's A3, A3A. That's it.
So A3A is up on the screen. And as you can see, again, I'm pointing with my pointer to the proposed access point on Welsh Road. So what we have proposed there, again, being it's the only vehicular access in and out of the property, is to signalize that access point and then connect that signal into the coordinated system that exists on Welsh Road. We're also looking to provide a right turn deceleration lane into the driveway, as well as a dedicated left turn lane into the driveway. And with the proximity of Orvilla Road, we would look to potentially provide some sort of what I'll call a center-left turn lane in this area to allow some of the residents that currently front on Welsh Road the ability to have a center-left turn lane in that area to safely enter and exit their driveways.
And again, to be abundantly clear, the access on Grapevine, emergency only, correct?
Correct. Emergency access only. The traffic study shows and analyzes only a vehicular access to and from Welsh Road, which is a state road. And assuming that we are fortunate enough to be able to move forward with this project, we will need to also work with PennDOT to obtain what's called a highway occupancy permit. That allows us to access the state road and to provide for any improvements that are deemed necessary with respect to the subject application.
Okay, and you testified you reviewed the revised conditional use plan, which is A3A up on the screen right now. And that plan's dated March 30th, 2026. That includes the 3 additional BOM parcels, which comprise about 0.385 of an acre, and 1 additional dwelling lot. And then there were slight modifications with regard to the driveway access, correct?
That's correct.
And given that the traffic study, as you mentioned, is dated December 2025, do any of the March 30th, 2026 plan revisions change your analysis, recommendations, or conclusions in any way?
They do not. As I mentioned, the December 1st, 2025 traffic study includes 161 single-family homes, where the current conditional use plan is showing 162 single-family homes. And the difference between the 161 and 162 from a traffic perspective is negligible.
And in your professional opinion as an expert in traffic engineering, planning, and design, does the proposed single-family detached dwelling cluster development as designed provide ingress and egress so as to minimize traffic congestion on public streets?
Yes, with the caveat that the recommendations included in the December 1st, 2025 traffic study are implemented, as well as any additional considerations throughout the land development and highway occupancy permit process.
And in your professional opinion as an expert in traffic engineering, planning, and design, will the proposed development, if constructed, in any way adversely impact or be detrimental to the health, safety, and welfare of the community in terms of traffic-related issues?
No, again, with the caveat that the recommendations included in the December 1st, 2025 study are implemented.
And finally, in your professional opinion as an expert in traffic engineering, planning, and design, will the proposed single-family detached dwelling cluster development, if constructed, cause any greater traffic impact than what is normally generated from a single-family detached dwelling cluster development use?
In my opinion, no.
That's all I have of this witness.
Mr. Panzer.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Good evening, Mr. Hammond.
Good evening.
Let's see, so you've identified the report you prepared. It also includes a considerable number of attachments, yes?
That's correct.
There's an executive summary within that report which highlights some of the things you just talked about. The calculation you talked about, the ITE trip generation calculation, yielded 1,566 trips for the 161 proposed dwelling units, yes?
Correct. 1,566 trips over the course of a 24-hour period, yes.
And the peak trip cycle for an hour was a PM trip cycle at 150 trips.
Correct.
And the proposal is to have one point of access, ingress and egress from the 161 unit development proposed to Welsh Road, a state highway, yes?
That's correct.
You submitted a scoping study, you indicated, in September 2025, and you received some feedback from the township traffic engineer. Do you recall that?
I do.
Did you implement the recommendations by the traffic engineer for considering additional data in arriving at your ultimate conclusions?
I don't have the letter in front of me. I believe there were approximately 5 or 6 comments contained in that letter. I believe the first comment talked about that the township traffic engineer agreed with the methodology that would be employed as part of the preparation of the traffic study. There was also a request to provide or include 2 background developments in the analysis, which were included. I believe there was a request to include the intersection of, there was a request to include one intersection.
40-foot road.
40-foot road and?
Elroy Coffle Road.
Yes. So that comment was the only comment that we did not comply with. We felt that based on the analysis that intersection was too far away for us to review in terms of the amount of impact the development would have. I believe the township ordinance, I mentioned Saldo, Section 250, Article 10, talks about the study area and when a traffic study would be necessary. And I believe the requirements are that intersections to be studied intersections that need to be studied are based on whether or not a development generates 10% of the traffic at the intersection and/or 100 peak hour trips. So as you mentioned, the development during the PM peak hour generated about 150 trips. In the AM peak hour, it's about 113 trips. And as the further you get from the development, obviously traffic disperses, so we would not meet that criteria.
And so you included the Pulte Del Webb and the Belfair Square developments in your analysis?
I believe we did, yes.
You mentioned the new trips. In analyzing traffic data in your profession, you consider some trips new trips and some trips as pass-through trips or pass-by trips, right?
Correct.
And what is the breakdown of your professional involvement in residential development versus commercial development?
So typically in a residential development, there are no pass-by trips. So essentially, when looking at trips and determining the type of trip a development would generate, new trips are trips that are new to the area. So it's a vehicle that is coming from and going directly to the development for the purposes of the development itself. And then there's also what's called a pass-by trip component, which is a vehicle that's passing by a site that may be on its way from home to work in the morning, that because that development is there, may have been passing by the site already and now accesses that site. That's called a pass-by trip. You find them more commonly on gas stations, convenience stores, Wawas, where a good portion of the traffic associated with those developments are pass-by type traffic. Pass-by traffic doesn't necessarily have an impact on the roadway, has more of an impact at the access point, but not necessarily on the roadway because it's already there. Residential developments, however, there is 0 pass-by component. It's 100% new trips. So anything that is being generated by development is going to be new to the area as it relates to that specific development.
So if the development is ultimately approved as proposed, 1,566 estimated new trips per day exiting the development and utilizing Welsh Road to go in one of various directions and then scatter from there, yes?
Correct. So 1,566 trips, and just so everyone's clear, a trip is defined as a movement in and another trip is a movement out. So essentially, if you take the total trips over the course of a day, 1,566, that equates to essentially 783 new vehicles being added to the roadway over a 24-hour period, which obviously, again, a lot of that is more concentrated during those peak hours, which is why we conduct analysis, we look at the peak hour of traffic associated with the development and superimpose that on the peak hour of traffic on the roadway that exists today.
And so among the improvements that you've suggested to mitigate the impact of the 1,566 new trips a day, there's the placement of the signal, as you've discussed, the widening of Welsh Road to provide for the decel lane, provision for the middle turn lane, and I didn't hear you mention it, maybe you did, you're proposing signal timings on several signalized intersections in the immediate area.
Correct. You did not hear that. Yes, that is one of the recommendations, obviously. When we're going to, because there is a signal system that exists along Welsh Road, if we were going to be adding a traffic signal to that system, then we need to look at the other signals within that system and make sure that if any adjustments are necessary, that those adjustments are made.
And clearly, the objective would be to move the traffic as efficiently as possible, but you're adding 1,566 trips and retiming the Welsh Road corridor as well as surrounding feeder roads, are you not?
Correct.
And you talked about the process. The scoping study is a very preliminary overture to PennDOT.
Correct.
Right?
I would classify it as more as like an introduction. It's an introduction of the project to PennDOT and to the township. We make certain assumptions based on our experience and what we intend to include in a traffic study or what we intend to analyze in a future traffic study. And the purpose of it is not only the introduction, but to garner feedback from both the township and PennDOT with respect to how we anticipate or what we anticipate the traffic study to look like once complete.
And you mentioned PennDOT permitting, which would be your ultimate goal to take access to Welsh Road. That interim step would include that traffic impact study that has not been completed, correct?
So the interim step, there's basically 3 steps when it comes to traffic as it relates to a PennDOT roadway. The first step is a scoping application, which we talked about. The second step is the preparation of the traffic impact study. That traffic impact study has been completed. It's been submitted to the township and well as PennDOT for review. Once you've addressed the comments that have been obtained from both the township and PennDOT's review, the likelihood is there will need to be revisions to the traffic study made, and then it's resubmitted. And once you get to the point where everyone is essentially comfortable, and everyone being the township or PennDOT is comfortable with the results and the recommendations contained in the traffic study, you go on to step 3, which is basically the formalization of the recommendations, essentially the design, the details as it relates to traffic signal timings, the design of the improvements, and the like, which is then again submitted to PennDOT and the township for review with the hopes of eventually obtaining the highway occupancy permit.
Yeah, I actually knew that, so good answer. Well done. You also have the land development process you have to go through, and by way of all the feedback you get through land development, that the initial plan may change considerably.
So, I mean, I guess there's always the possibility the initial plan can change considerably, but I would say that typically, once we've gotten to this stage in the process, that we've worked out a lot of the main issues, the main things from a layout perspective, from a roadway improvement perspective. But with that said, that obviously there are still steps to go through if we're fortunate enough to move forward to the next step, land development being one and the PennDOT process being one. And I would be remiss to think that there would be no tweaks or potential revisions to what is being recommended at this time. But I think those tweaks wouldn't be necessarily classified as substantial.
And you indicated in your direct testimony that you are attempting to not only mitigate impacts, but help solve problems within the study area. Would it be fair to say that the service table in your study actually reflects that none of the intersections studied are improved given the proposed mitigation measures.
I wouldn't necessarily know the intersections are improved. There are intersections where there's slight improvements in levels of service and delays. There's intersections which have slight increases in delays. But those increases or those reductions are minimal.
So the intersections are ranked by way of the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, right?
Correct, just like grades in school.
And they go that way. A's are good, F's are bad.
Correct.
So if I'm reading your table correctly, it looks like all of the intersections but 2 have the same grade before and after. That is existing versus proposed improvements.
Correct.
One actually does get worse. That's the Welsh Road AM Peak, right?
Which intersection of Welsh Road? Welsh Road in Orvilla or Welsh Road in 40-foot?
Yeah, Welsh Road, Norvilla. AM Peak, 2025 existing is a B, and the projected is a C, no?
Yeah, so yes, if that were the comparison. So the comparison is not necessarily existing conditions. That is what exists out there today. So as I mentioned before, we need to look into the future and determine how the intersections are going to operate in the future without the development. Comparing existing conditions today to what traffic may look like in 2030 is not a fair comparison. So what you do is you look at the base conditions. So if you're looking at that table, you're comparing base to projected conditions. The base represents the future year, which I mentioned earlier was 2030. And within that 2030 timeframe, there's additional traffic growth that we've added to the roadway network. We've added the other background developments that the township traffic engineers asked us to add, the other developments that we're aware of. That is what we call base. And again, it's just that, it's the base conditions. So when you're looking at the impact the development has, the impact is a comparison of the base conditions to the projected conditions. So the difference between the two is base includes background developments, additional traffic that may be added to the roadway network. Projected is base plus the development. So when you compare the two, it's base versus projected, not existing versus projected.
So no substantial improvement by any comparison.
Correct. Substantial, correct.
So with regard to the proposed emergency access, and let's focus on the one, the easement to Orvilla Road. You understand that's not an exclusive easement, correct?
I don't know the details of that easement other than the fact that there's an easement that exists. We have, other than mention it within the text of the traffic study, we have not taken that into account from an analysis perspective.
Have you seen it?
I have seen it, yes.
Not paved,
Gravel.
less than a 20-foot cartway, yes?
I believe it's less than 20 feet. I haven't measured it, but yes, I know it's gravel.
And it's essentially someone's driveway present.
That's what it appears to look like, yes.
And so the emergency access is supposed to provide ingress or egress, emergency vehicles or others, in the event that the main access is blocked, closed, not usable, right?
That's correct.
So if someone's using it as a driveway, it's going to be difficult for emergency vehicles to use it for emergency access, right?
So if someone were to park their vehicle in that eased area, then obviously that would be a concern. That would be a similar concern if any one person were to park their vehicle within an eased area or in front of an emergency access. Having a gravel emergency access doesn't concern me because there are plenty of instances where municipalities have asked us to provide emergency access that is not necessarily visible, and it consists of gravel pavers or something to that effect, so that there's a stabilized surface for the emergency vehicle to utilize. But again, I don't know what the details are, the ability for someone to park in that area. I do know that it does look like a driveway, but as you get past that first residential house, that the gravel extends, I guess that would be east. It looks like a parking area next to that residential unit, so I would assume that's where the vehicles would park. But it is an eased area, and I don't know the exact language as it relates to the ability to use it or park within that area. But again, I would offer that, even if that were to be the case, that we do have a secondary means of emergency access, which is off of Grapevine Drive.
And with regard to other improvements, the road widening on Welsh Road, those widenings would take you outside the existing right-of-way?
I have not necessarily determined the extent of what the widening would require, but if the widening would require us to extend outside of the right-of-way, then it would be, the onus would be on us to obtain whatever easements or rights-of-way we would need from the affected property owner.
Or it could just be a taking of some sort?
We cannot take property from a private property owner. We have the ability to negotiate and purchase the property or purchase easement, but we have no ability whatsoever to condemn or take property from an unwilling property owner.
The traffic impact study, did you evaluate the impact of the proposed development on pedestrian and bicycle traffic?
We did not. I don't believe there are any existing pedestrian facilities on the development side of Welsh Road. We did make a recommendation in the traffic study to work with the township and or PennDOT to determine if there should be pedestrian facilities along the frontage of Welsh Road, along our property frontage, which again is limited. But we did not look at pedestrian activities along Welsh Road. As I mentioned, I'm not aware of any pedestrian facilities that exist in that immediate area.
And traffic planning and design did not assess any impacts of the proposed development on pedestrian and bicycle traffic within the development. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
That's all I have.
Matt,
Yes.
I have a very basic question. Well, first of all, Leon Drive is not proposed as an emergency access, it's just Grapevine.
Well, Grapevine Drive is the stub, so I'll point here.
I'm sorry,
Again,
the other access point, there's two
Buckthorn.
stubs, right?
There's two stubs. Excuse me.
Okay.
The one to the west is Buckthorn. That stubs into the property line here as I'm pointing to on Exhibit A3A. You'll notice that there is vegetation proposed in this area, so we're not proposing an
Okay.
emergency access in a location. The only emergency access we're proposing is here, as I'm pointing to, which would connect in with the existing stub of Grapevine Drive, which takes you right to Leon Drive, which runs east-west, as I'm pointing to. On the
Okay,
exhibit.
I had those confused. That's Grapevine. Okay. Here's my other question. Every traffic study I have seen and held and begrudged has been 2 to 3 inches thick. Why is this so thin? What about this study makes it so condensed versus the other studies that I have seen? What's it missing?
If I can jump in here, so the appendices that are all included with it, we provided hard copies to the township when we submitted our application, and that included all the appendices.
Okay.
I also provided by electronic means, PDFs, to the township, to Mr. Panzer, the appendices. I was trying to save trees.
That's
so I
fine.
don't
That's
have them
what's
included
missing.
here.
Okay, you answered my question. Thank
This
you.
is the full version
Yeah,
of the
see?
traffic study.
The annoying big booklet.
yeah.
Okay. All right, I appreciate you not reproducing that. Thank you. Matt, did the applicant ask you to analyze the internal circulation of the project?
They did not ask us to analyze it, but I did work in concert with Bowler Engineering on the layout of the site to kind of look at some of the internal intersections, where some of the houses were located, and then also looking at whether or not emergency vehicles could circulate through the property.
Do emergency vehicles make it through the property with parking provided?
I don't want to give you I'm not 100% accurate. I do know that there have been plans prepared to show that emergency vehicles traversing through the property, and they can do it safely. I just don't know if there were any instances where it was in close proximity to driveways, but we're not intending that in those areas that there be any sort of on-street parking.
So you're not sure if there was parking, that analysis of the emergency vehicles traversing the development, you're not sure if that analysis included parking on one side or both sides, or none?
I've looked at many versions of this plan. I don't recall what the latest version showed.
Okay, great, thank you. We are going to see if there's a party in the room that has questions. Commissioners, do any of you have questions?
I do.
Okay, well, so anyone who's a party, I have your names, so if you wanted to gather yourselves while the commissioners ask questions, you can do that. Go ahead.
I'm a little confused about the Orvilla easement. You mentioned it, a little bit of dialogue. What is going to happen with the Orvilla easement? Is it going to be used, not used? What exactly is going on with it?
The emergency, the easement from the property to Arvilla Road?
Yeah.
I don't know that we have any plans, as you see from conditional use plan. This would be the area where the easement exists. We don't have any plans to utilize that area as an emergency access at this
Nothing
time.
then. Okay, all right. And I'm a little confused by I have table 1 in front of me, which is, I guess, your page 2. A lot of letters in there. The letters are grading of the base condition. C is the grade. A is better than B, and B is better than C?
Yes.
Okay. And then I didn't quite follow existing equals existing, base equals no build scenario, projected equals build scenario, the little note on the bottom?
Yes.
What the heck does that pertain to up top?
So, so when we talk about the table, we're defining what the existing conditions mean, the base conditions and the projected conditions.
Right, so what column am I looking at?
So existing conditions are how the intersections operate today based on the traffic volumes that were collected. So today, in that column that says 2025 existing,
okay,
that's how those intersections operate. The letter is the level of service, or how the intersection is graded.
Got it.
And then the number in parentheses is actually the delay, the delay.
Okay.
So level of service is really just a measure of delay, how long it takes someone to traverse an intersection. So the longer it takes, the worse the letter of grade is.
And that's 18.1 seconds, for example, the first one, AMP.
Correct.
Right?
It's an average. So the intersection, obviously, of Welsh and Orvilla Road has 4 legs.
Okay.
So on average, it takes a motorist 18.1 seconds to get through that intersection during the peak period, which equates to a level of service B as in boy.
Got it.
When you look at base conditions, all right, the base conditions, again, if you look even further up, it says opening year of 2030.
Yes.
So the base conditions represent that same intersection in the year 2030. So we have to project out the additional volumes that are just generally increase in the area, which is based on statistics provided by PennDOT, in addition to any other developments in the immediate vicinity of the proposed development, which may add traffic to the roadway. So you'll see that there's an increase of an average 4.7 seconds
right,
when you look at existing versus 2030 conditions. So in 5 years, the intersections operate 4.7 seconds worse on average.
And the definition of no build scenario, is that a no build scenario for this development, or what does no build scenario mean?
Yeah, so it's just verbiage that we use that basically means that scenario is no development. No, that scenario doesn't include the subject development.
Okay, got it.
And then projected conditions is base conditions plus the development.
Got it, all right. Thank you.
Welcome.
Anything else?
Yeah, and then there's a 1 designation for projected in that last column. I don't see what that 1 references in this book.
I think that was errantly left off, essentially what 1 means. And if you refer further on in the traffic study, if you go to, for instance, go to page 10.
Got it.
Right? So if you look, you have base, projected, and projected 1. Projected 1 is just, when we do the analysis, we look at existing conditions, we look at the future base conditions, then the projected conditions, assuming no improvements. Projected 1 just means the future conditions with the recommended improvements.
Got it. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Matt, I have a few questions. I'm also on table 1. I'm looking at, we'll just start at the top there. I'm looking at projected Welsh Road. It's a C at 23 seconds, right?
You're, again, Welsh Road, Norvilla Road intersection?
Welsh Road and Orvilla, yep.
Sure.
23 seconds.
Mhm.
Does that project 1,566 new trips?
So the first column is 2025 existing, is that you're referring to, that number, 23.4?
No, opening year 2030 projected, it got a grade level of C with 23 seconds. Does that include 1,566 new trips?
So it includes, so all we're looking at is the peak hours of traffic. We're
Right.
not looking at the volumes over a 24-hour period.
Okay.
So what that includes is in the AM peak hour, that includes the 113 trips that will be added. In the PM peak hour, it includes the 150 trips that would be added as part of this development.
I follow. So it includes those two, which are kind of, in the grand scheme of things, part of the 1,566 trips, but
Correct.
not during that time frame. Okay.
Correct.
Does just to the left of that, under base, also graded at C, 22.8 seconds, does that include 113 new trips in the AM peak hours and 150 new trips in the weekday PM hours?
No, it does not.
Okay. So an increase, with an increase of 113 new trips in the weekday AM peak hour and 150 new trips during the weekday PM peak hours, and a projection of increased traffic generally, separate and apart from the development, your calculation is that waiting is only going to go from 22.8 seconds to 23 seconds.
So again, the base conditions already include 5 years of growth.
Right.
Right, so the only difference is when you're looking at base to projected is the addition of the traffic associated with the subject development.
Right.
Right, so the base already has all of that growth baked into it.
Yep.
So, right, so when we're looking at base, comparing base to projected, you're correct. There is a, let me just get to that table. There is depending on the situation, there's PM peak hour, for instance, there's a less than a 1 second increase in delay at the intersection. I would mention that, again, this is an average of all of the various movements that occur at the intersection. So one movement at the intersection, could it be improved from a delay perspective, and one could be degraded. But at the end of the day, when you average it all out, all of the movements that exist at the intersection or will exist at that intersection, yeah, you're correct.
Okay, so so if I'm a lay person here, so from my perspective, based on what you just said earlier and what you just said a moment ago, is that roughly, and based on the averages, 113 new trips in the weekday AM peak hour and 150 new trips during the weekday PM hour is only going to add 0.2 of a second additional delay. Because it's going from 22.8 to 23, because you're comparing the base, what would the base would be then if you didn't have the project, to the projected, which would include the project.
On average, however, there's one error in that. And that error is assuming that all of the vehicles associated with the development traverse through the intersection of Welsh Road and Orvilla. So when the vehicles exit out of the development, they have the ability to go west to the intersection of 40-foot, or they have the ability to take a left and head down to the intersection of Orvilla and Welsh Road.
Yeah.
Similarly, when we're looking at the trips, it's the vehicles that are entering as well as the vehicles that are exiting.
Right.
So the vehicles that are coming from, let's say, coming down Orvilla Road that make a right on the Welsh Road that eventually make a right into the development is one component. Vehicles that are traveling east to west on Orvilla is another component. The vehicles traveling north on Orvilla making a left and then a right are another component. So it's spread out. And obviously, the traffic is split when you come out of that development to two intersections. So it's not 113 trips at that intersection. It's not 150 trips added to the intersection. It's based on the amount of traffic due to current traffic patterns that is added to that intersection. But generally speaking, on average, yes, there is a minimal increase in the level of service or the delay at that intersection as a result of the additional traffic associated with the development.
I follow. I mean, when I look at Table 1, everything's based on the average because 113 new trips might not all go through Welsh and Orvilla. Some of them, or many of them, could go through Welsh and 40-foot, which means that the projected for example, Welsh and Orvilla, it might not be 23 seconds. It could be longer, could be shorter, but it also could be longer, depending on where those 113 in the morning go and where those 150 go at night.
Well, come from and go to. So
Yeah,
there's a
come
component.
to and go to.
Right. In the morning, you're going to have more people exiting the residential development, going to work, going to school, than you will have entering, and vice versa. In the afternoon peak hour, you'll have more people returning to the property than exiting the property.
You were asked, and it was some language right from the statute that talked about adequate measures having been taken to provide ingress and egress designed to minimize traffic congestion on public streets beyond what the normal impact would be by a permitted use. You had said that you were okay with this development would not kind of violate, it would not, the adequate measures would be appropriate if they were implemented on your recommendation.
Correct.
And that's based on 1,566 new trips. Notwithstanding that, you're still comfortable that the development meets that legal standard.
Correct. And as I mentioned before, the traffic study is based on 161 single-family homes, and the current plan shows 162 single-family homes. 162 single-family homes, I believe, generates 1,573 trips over the course of a day, 7 more trips over the course of a day.
In your experience, how many new trips have to occur before the standard in the legal standard is no longer met? Is it 1,600 trips? Is it 1,700 trips?
I don't know that I have, it depends on the type of development, where it's located and the like. But it's, the information that we're utilizing is the information that's utilized by all traffic engineers, including PennDOT and the township, as it relates to the generation of traffic.
There's no, again, I'm a layperson, there's no metric that says after 1,600 new trips, it no longer meets the legal standard. After 1,700, it's based on your experience that you're saying 1,566 still stays within the standard of the statute.
Correct.
Okay. When it comes to the left turn lane and I think you might have covered this, but I'm just double checking. You had in your recommendations the eastbound left turn and the westbound right turn. Those are going to require some widening along the roadway?
Absolutely.
Okay. And I'm sorry if you covered this and I just totally missed it. There is sufficient space there now, or I think council was asking you about whether there's a taking necessary. And I know you said you can't take. We understand that.
Yeah. So I can't answer whether or not there's sufficient space within the existing right-of-way. That's something that we need to, again, if we're fortunate enough to get through this portion of the approvals, then that would be something that would be investigated through land development and through the process with PennDOT. But as I mentioned, which is not unusual for many projects, that if there is not enough space, and the space I think we're referring to as right-of-way,
Yep.
then we would need to look to acquire right-of-way or easements necessary to effectuate the recommended improvements. And again, we don't have the ability to take, nor would PennDOT, as part of private development, take any property. It really is on us to try to be able to utilize what exists, or if additional right-of-way is necessary, to come to some sort of agreement with that property owner.
Does your report cover the analysis of whether the conditional use would be injurious to the use and enjoyment of the properties in the sense that it could, whether it would substantially diminish and impair property values? Do you cover that in your report, or is that someone else?
I don't cover that in my report, no.
Okay. All right.
But from a traffic perspective, we don't get into property values.
Very simple question. Your recommendations on Table 2, are they just repeated on at Table 12? Or is there some difference between those recommendations?
There's no difference. The table 2 on page 2
Yep.
is part of the executive summary, which is, again, a summary of the overall document.
Okay, I didn't see any differences. I just wanted to make sure. When you were looking at, do you anticipate what the population would be to determine the number of trips inside the development when it's fully complete? Is that a part of the analysis?
No, we look at strictly the amount of traffic that would be generated by development of this type.
So the number of people who are living inside the development is not not part of the calculation to determine the number of trips?
It is, but it's not directly calculated. And what I mean by that is that, again, I'd mentioned that when we look at the amount of traffic a property or a development will generate, we utilize the Institute of Transportation Engineers Trip Generation Manual. What that manual is a compilation of hundreds, if not thousands, of studies that have been done at existing operating land uses that are categorized. And then that information is provided so that we as traffic engineers, when looking at a new development, can input certain criteria and have a projection on the amount of traffic that development would generate. So those studies are the studies that are the basis for that information, or studies that are actually conducted at existing operating properties. So, for instance, in this traffic study, we utilize single-family home to determine the amount of traffic generated. That means that the information that was utilized, the data that was utilized, is based on counts done at single-family home developments.
In the area?
Not necessarily in the area. It could be on the East Coast. It could be throughout the United States. I would say that the residential developments themselves are typically one of the more robust data points within the trip generation manual. That means there's a lot more studies have been conducted and utilized to determine that data. But I will tell you that for the most part, when we compare our projections to the actual operating characteristics of developments, most of the times, not every single time, but most of the times, we have overestimated the amount of traffic generated by a development because of the nature of the data that's provided.
So there's, as a part of your report, you have the discretion in creating your own report to determine, okay, which comparable community I'm going to use.
I don't have I do, but I don't. At the end of the day, I'm preparing the traffic study, but I'm preparing that traffic study based on the input of the township as well as PennDOT. And just because I say it is, doesn't mean it is. That traffic study is submitted to the township and the PennDOT for review, and if the township's consultant traffic engineer disagrees with my data, disagrees with how I did my analysis, disagrees with some of the conclusions that I came to within the study, then obviously they'll make those comments and I'll have to address them to their satisfaction, similar to PennDOT as well. If PennDOT has comments or requires certain changes to be made to the traffic study, then we'll need to make those changes or address those comments to PennDOT satisfaction in order to ultimately obtain a highway occupancy permit.
Okay. Just going back, just a couple other questions. Still going back to table 1. Is there a certain number of trips, either in the AM peak hours or in the weekday PM peak hours, that that you can tell me that moves, a letter grade from a B to a C or a C to a D?
Every intersection is different. It's really a function of many things, notably the volume at the intersection, the geometry of the intersection, the type of lanes, the number of lanes, if it's signalized or unsignalized, the direction of traffic flows during certain peaks. So every intersection is different, so there's not a hard and fast rule that says, a certain threshold will make an intersection drop a letter grade. There's been intersections that I've seen in the past that have a significant amount of volume, and even if you add 5 trips to the intersection, you could drop a letter grade. And I've seen other intersections where there's a good amount of volume, but I've added hundreds of trips along that corridor and not seen a significant letter grade.
And just for clarity, your report shows that when you compare the base, opening year 2030, when you compare the base to the projected, the increased number of trips that this development is going to bring is not going to change the letter grade in any of those intersections, regardless of the number of trips that go in and out through those, through each of the intersections. Again, based on averages, like you said.
Correct.
Do you know the actual dates of when the traffic volumes were, you said in March of 2024 and September of 2025?
Yes, it's actually outlined.
Is that in the report somewhere?
It is, page 4, table 3.
Ah, there they are. Okay. All right, so it's the 3 days. It's September 9th, 2025, March 7th, 2024, and September 9, 2025.
Actually, 2 days, but yes.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Those are duplicative dates. So it's 2 dates.
Correct.
Okay. I don't have anything else.
Just one question, the single-family home comparison. The single-family home comparison you're doing, these are two-bedroom house, you're comparing a two-bedroom house in this study?
We're comparing a single-family detached home. So it doesn't necessarily equate to 2 to 5 bedrooms necessarily. It equates to a standalone single-family home. There's other categories from a residential perspective, townhomes, 2-story apartment buildings, 3 to 10-story apartment buildings, above 10-story apartment buildings, age-restricted
But for this
carriage
purpose,
homes.
is identified as a single-family home, not whether it's a 2 or 3 or 4-bedroom house?
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. Anyone who's a party that would like to ask a question relative to the testimony? State your name, please.
My name's John Sperling. I live at 1701. It's right there. Welsh Road. You're talking about widening Welsh Road?
We're talking about in the vicinity of the proposed access point. Yes, that based on the analysis contained in the study and the requirements outlined by the township and PennDOT, that we would need to widen Welsh Road in that area to facilitate a left turn lane into the driveway, as well as a potential right turn lane into that driveway as well.
Okay, well, I mean, you're going to have to take some property, or you're going to have to get property somehow.
It's quite possible. Again, just to clarify, we're not taking any property. We
No,
can't take
I
property.
understand
Yes.
that. My question for you is, because I am one of the ones affected, are you aware that we don't have public sewer down there? That's all private sewer?
I'm not aware of that. That would not.
Well, I mean, if you're going to widen the road, our sewer systems come pretty close to the road as they are. How are you going to deal with that?
I couldn't tell you at this moment how we would deal with that. Obviously,
Hold the mic closer, Matt.
obviously, we would need to, if the widening had any effect on the properties, then we would need to coordinate directly with that property owner to determine how we can mitigate that impact. But at this moment in time, I couldn't tell you what issues exist or don't exist. That would be something, again, through the process. This is a long process. There are many different steps that we need to take, but it'd be part of one of the next processes to determine the impact and if there are any things that we need to do, whether it relates to utilities, sewer, utility poles, existing driveways, grades, stormwater, and the like.
How long of a deceleration lane, I guess is what you called it? How long of a?
We were, based on the analysis that was conducted in the study, it's a 175-foot right turn lane.
Okay. All right, well, that is going to affect some of those sewer lines, sewage, so. All right, thank you.
Thank you, John. Anybody else who's a party have any questions? Okay, I see no hands. Any redirect? Oh, Patricia, what you've written is a statement, so we're only doing questions now. We'll hold on to this for when statements are made, okay? Okay. Any redirect, Julie?
Just one brief.
Could you turn the mic towards your face?
I'm sorry. Matt, referring to Table 1, the overall intersection level of service summary, there's a column that says meets LOS requirements, question mark, and then for all the intersections, it says yes. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And what does that mean?
That means, does it meet the level of service requirements outlined in the township's ordinance as well as PennDOT requirements?
And in this case, for every intersection, it does meet the township requirements, correct?
That is correct.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Recross?
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
What table specifically were you looking at and asking that question of?
This was
That
again,
was I'm sorry.
it was Table 1,
There
which
are
is
two
where the
table
bulk of
ones
the
here.
questions came from earlier.
Oh, okay, got it. All right, thank you.
Okay, Julie, do you have another witness?
No, not this evening. Our other witness was unable to attend this evening, death in the family.
Okay. So, looks like we are looking at our next hearing date of June 24, 7 p.m.
Correct.
Do you know what witnesses you'll be calling that night, or
We
Mr.
know that we'll be calling our next witness, John Kennedy.
Okay. All right. We'll see if anything pops up. If you know any more as we get closer, that would be great, just so we can allocate time appropriately for you. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to continue the hearing on the record until June 24, 2026, 7 p.m. prevailing time. A motion's in order to continue the hearing as noted. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.